Good morning, good morning. It is Rose and Sanjay with Motivation Station. Rose, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Sanjay.
How are you doing?
Let me put my. I feel like I don't hear you. Today is day number 7 since my mom was buried.
Mhm.
And I did a lot of prayers. We went to Machit and my family, and I want to thank you, every single person, for all the messages, all the support, and I'm grateful that I was able to do honor a video of podcast we did last week. Yesterday was the first day I went back to work, and when I came to work, they gave me this beautiful note of sympathy card, and everybody signed the card, so that was really nice. People were saying, "I'm sorry for your loss. My heart goes out to you and your family. May she rest in peace." and and so on. I don't want to read it. I don't want to ball out
Yeah,
my
no, it's fine.
eyes. So
That's for you, but it's the sentiment that matters, right? So the
it's
fact that
yes,
your colleagues and friends at work were just like, hey, like we know you're going through a rough time. Here's
yes, that
something.
was
To,
that
yeah.
was very touching moment,
Mm.
and I'm grateful for that. And everybody was giving me a hug, and it was just a moment that thank you for all the support. So we did made it over 2,000 views now. Um, 2024 actually, and I'm really proud of us, and I know she's happy for us doing our greatness, and show must go on, as I said last time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, like that's what we're here for, right? Like that's what I think motivation station kind of stands for, is the fact that we uh we do what we can for each other, right? And we do what we can for others as much as we can. Like, sometimes, honestly, if you think about it, we're very lucky for like where we are now, both like both of us in our lives, and just like for a lot of different people that there's people there to support you, people there to stand you up. And I think, even within our 39 episodes that we've done, that we always had something to bring us back, right? So I don't know about you, but I can say safely for me that most of the time, there's times where I've done the episode and I was on the low, like I was down. I was just like down. I wasn't even happy, right? But then, like, doing the podcast and doing the episode, I came back and I felt better, and I was like, okay, now my day is better. Now, we like I'm not as, like, I'm not as sad as when I started. And it's always, like I said, to me this is more of like a therapy to like myself, but like for us to be able to share the stuff that we go through and the stuff that we show gratitude for, um, it goes a long way, right? So, we were all sad about your mother last week, but like to know that you're doing well, that you were able to make peace, within yourself. You went to work, and work gave you some loving there too. Now we're all a little bit happier knowing that, like, we know you're doing well. I mean, I'm sure you're still sad, there's still grieving, there's always gonna be that, but the fact that, like, you know that people are there for you, including us talking about it, and including your coworkers, right? Because, like, even, think about it, and I'm not gonna try to put anybody on spot, but I know you, when you go to work, it's kind of, you're work focused, you're all work focused, you're all trying to do your own thing. But the fact that they took that moment to be humane and be like, Rose is coming back after this happened, what can we do for Rose? You know what I mean? Like, work will always be competitive, work will always be tough, but the fact that they kind of set aside differences because of what had happened is a beautiful thing. And now you know that there is a level of care there. Despite some days being harder than others, despite some days you might not get along with everybody, like, there's still the human side of life, right? There was
That was, yes, that was amazing.
there was like one of my most favorite things I've ever seen, and it's crazy, right? It's like an old, super old picture, and there was like a what do you call it? Kind of like a protest going on, between like two nations or something like that, and like they're just like going at it. But then one day they found out like the main protester guy, it was his birthday. So that day, they all, for whatever reason, came together and got him a cake. And they're like, "We don't protest today. Today's your birthday." And like they
Oh
celebrated
wow.
instead. And I was like, I don't understand this, but this is awesome, you know? I don't, I mean, I forgot exactly what it was. I don't think it was like a big protest per se. And it was somewhere overseas, like, them against each other. But he said, please let us not protest today. It is my birthday. And they bought him a cake. You know what I mean? So there's still a human side to like everyone, which I think is very lovely,
Yes.
and that's like the stuff that we try to
Yes.
bring out at Motivation Station.
One of the things that happened is on a Thursday, it was a beautiful butterfly. It's the day when it really hit me, and um, the butterfly, and I sat down at the front porch, and the beautiful butterfly was flying around, and she sat on my feet about 3 times. That was a moment. I knew that was her, and I keep myself at the peace in my mind, in my heart. I'm
Mhm.
continuing doing gratitude journal that we spoke about
Yeah,
every morning, which is very crucial for me. It's just the more you're grateful, the more blessings you open up for yourself. And of course, just to say that she's no longer in pain, that's what really keeping me in peace. Those words are constantly lingering in my mind and in my heart saying she's in a better place.
mhm.
So that's really, really nice. And I just want to again say thank you for every single person that reached out and the hugs and the support and the warm words. I really do appreciate it. So, and there's always, we always have moments when we, as you said, in a low and then we rise up. So, always know that you can rise up. You
Yeah.
can.
I think that's an important lesson
So,
because the thing is, like, you can't go in life saying that you'll always be on the high up, right? And you can show it. That's the beautiful part of it. Is that if you really wanted to, you can always show that you're good. You can always show that you're
yes,
high up, right? And then obviously in your own solitude, you might not be all that high up. You might actually be going through some stuff, but you don't want to show that part. And I don't think there's anything wrong with doing either or. You know, there's a lot of like motivational stuff that I've watched. I was like, never let the other person see you down. Because you don't know who's watching. Like maybe there is somebody who is a huge fan of you or follows you or whatever, and they're just like, wow, this guy's doing great. He's always doing great. He's always 100%, right? And those people are heroes to a lot of people, right? But then those people who are always 100% seen, they're not always 100%, altogether. And sometimes they feel like if they show that, it's a form of weakness. And like it's a slippery slope there. So I won't go there just because like I feel like it's for me it's more right to be humane. So if I am feeling down, I'll feel down and I'll be okay with feeling down and showing that I feel down. I just won't let you feel down with me. Like if you start like I mean like for like I'll sit quietly with my friends and we'll be at peace like that because that's the way we just kind of deal with it
hmm
or we're distracted from it. But for some people they're like there's people looking at us like heroes and they feel this they feel that thing that they can't be seen this way because then what is this person going to think of me? To me personally, when I see somebody who I think is a hero and they're having a bad time, I just remember they're as human as I am. You know, I just remember that like they can feel down too. Why not? But like what I like to do is do my best to make sure I like if I can rise them back up, if I can bring them back up,
yes,
I
it's
will.
okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah, 100%. But for some people, they don't feel that way. But the thing is, I won't say that it's wrong for them to feel that way. That the fact that they don't want to show them being vulnerable, that's fine. Like everybody can do their own thing. But it's kind of like what I named the title is like what happens when we keep fighting, and it's because
Yes,
it's because like, you know, there's gonna be times where we have to fight the good fight. There's gonna be times where like we're gonna feel at an all time low. The other day I was watching a Disney movie or Disney. I don't remember Disney. No, it's not Disney. It was a movie called Sing, right? And like the main character, like he said it like twice in the movie. He's like, you know what's great about being rock bottom? And then I was like, what? They're like, there's only one direction to go, up. And he just like rises to whatever. So it's always like when you look at it like that, like you think you're at the bottom and that's it. No, the only direction to go is up. Just like I think we mentioned before that like we feel that sometimes that like we're buried, right? We're under the dirt, but it's actually that we're planted, you know, and now we're gonna grow. It's these perspectives that help you stay motivated, stay going.
Yes, and I had a nice privilege a couple weeks ago to meet a person that was telling me his story. I said, "Your story is so fascinating, going from of the there was we speaking at the lowest points of our lives and actually rising up." And I said, "You know what? I think we need to hear your story a little bit more. And you know, this is what we do. We share our passion, mission, our story to give other people's hope,
Yeah,
to make difference in people's life. And today we have a beautiful guest that I am honored to, you know, I'm very glad that this person accepted the invitation to be part of the motivation station today
mhm.
and share his story because it's a very fascinating story and to
Yeah,
see that life is what you make.
yeah. Life is what you make it. No, I agree. And yeah, I mean, I didn't get to talk to him as much about like the brief little interaction we just had, like right before we started the podcast. Yeah, it sounds like he's been through a lot. But we'll definitely, I think, we're gonna be happy to share his story, and hopefully, maybe it helps encourage others as well. So let me see if I can bring him in. 1 second. All right, Bill, we're gonna bring you in. All right.
Yes,
Mr. Golub,
Welcome, Mr. Golub. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Excellent. Well,
This is a great honor to be on your show.
oh, I'm telling you, it's a great privilege to have you here, actually, and
yes,
Thank you.
we're looking forward to getting to know you.
I want to offer
Um,
my condolences to Rose,
mm,
first of all,
thank you,
that
thank you.
on the loss of her mother. I lost my mother about a year and a half ago. Um,
sorry to
it's
hear that.
a blessing because our inheritance was distributed, and then I found out some other things about my income, and it without even having that happen, my income actually doubled in 2024, and I began giving way back in 1995. Um, I don't know if we talked about this, Rose, but I was I was living in housing in that the church provided for me in Tacoma, Washington, and I heard about it. I was going to the soup kitchens to eat, and I had heard about a tent crusade. And as I didn't have a penny to put in the offering, but on the way to the tent crusade, I found a penny and I put it in the offering. Well, the next day I found two pennies because it was a like a several day crusade, and the next day after that I found four pennies. The next day after that I found 8 cents, then 16, then 32, 64, and I went home after those several days and I says, Lord, are you trying to tell me something here? And he said, you remember that guy that confronted you about 20 years ago? And he says, would you rather me give you $100,000 or give you a penny if I could guarantee it would be doubled every day for 30 days? Well, most people would answer um, the $100,000.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the correct answer, but I didn't even own a calculator at the time in 95 when I made this discovery. And if you double a penny every day for 30 days, it's actually over $10 million. I
Hmm.
can't give the exact amount. I have it written down, but it's over $10 million. So you would be way short if you accepted 100. You'd lose 10 times what you could have had. And so I started giving according to that plan to my churches, to my other ministries like radio stations and different ministries that I supported. It would always have like $10.24 or $20.48, $40.96. Those are the small numbers I remember. And I just knew that one day I would be blessed, and I intend to give away $10 million before my last days on earth. And I'm a ways away. But the highest gift I've given so far was over $5,000. And so coming from a penny to $5,000 in 29 years, which is what I gave last year. So I don't know if I had told you that story or not, but that's a good place to start. Even if somebody's broke, what has to change is a person's mindset on giving, because they think I'm giving it away and I lose it. No, you give it away and you store up treasures in heaven. And so that money is going to find its way back to you, whether you work or you're disabled or any situation. That gift is going to come back to you. And as is written in the scriptures, that give and it will be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, running over, will men give unto your bosom. So it's a true. I've proven it out, because now people are envious, and I can't help that, because I was never envious of people that had more than me.
Mm. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, I love that that idea, because it's exactly what you say. Like, people see a prize like up front, but it's like, is that really the prize? You know, like somebody just
Yes.
saying, "Hey, take all this money now," or would you rather take this much and let it grow over time? And I think that also comes down to like patience is a virtue as well, right?
Yes.
Because like people, people always like look, if they want, especially when it comes to finances, it's like they want it quick, they want it fast, they want it to happen
Yes.
now. But the
They
true
want the
growth,
immediate gratification.
like I mean, look at trees, look at things you grow in your garden, stuff like that. It
Mhm.
doesn't just grow overnight and just come the
That's
full
exactly.
bearing. Um, but it's a beautiful sentiment, and I agree with you that like one thing that you said that I love the most was you said money comes and money goes, right? And I know I have a friend, I won't get too deep into his story, and he invested a lot of time to start making a lot of money. And he did. He was on a great journey,
Well,
but it came at the cost of his health. It
okay.
came at the cost of time being gone. Time that he missed with others, time that he missed with family and friends, right? And as I mean, I like we talk all the time, and I tell him like, listen, we just all hit a point in life that we had a goal that we wanted to do, and one of his goals, and I know he's still working towards it. He was like, I want to make so much money, right? That the few close friends that we like he has, like the ones that we grew up with like over 2 decades now, he's like, I don't
Mhm.
want any of us to work anymore. And I'm like, that's such a gracious goal. That is such a kind goal to do, right?
Yes.
But it's gonna come at such a cost. Like we're not, fortunately, like my friends and I, we're not at a point that we can't work, we can't make our own money, right? So I think over time, what had happened is he started making a lot of money. He was able to get a nice house. He's married now, but like the time was ticking. Like he has a person that he loves for the rest of his life, but it took years for him to hit that button to say let's get married, you know
Mhm.
and they've been together for almost a decade before he had done that. And he's like, oh no, I think we lost Bill. We'll let hold on, let me keep an eye on Bill.
We're
Oh, you
here.
still here? All right, sorry.
We're
You kind
good.
of
Switched. We got our side switched.
No, no, you're
Now
good, you're
Rose
back.
is in the middle on my screen.
Yeah, no, it,
That's
it
fine.
it it
Yeah.
dropped you from the call here, but I got you back. But anyway, so
I'm on the right side now.
it's okay. Like on our screen, you're still exactly where you need to be, so you're good
Okay.
there.
Very good.
Um, but yeah, no, like I was saying, so
Yeah.
He had taken so long to propose to this girl, and this girl was grateful. She was like happy for all the things did, but she's like, we I feel like we missed time with our friends and family in our lives now
Mhm.
because we're too focused about this. So now I think we're all hitting an age that like we're understanding about money comes and goes, right? And we're
Yes.
all about like, look, if like I'm doing something the best to my abilities. Like I'm not in the best financial state, but I have a friend who's going through some trials and tribulations and going through a hard time, and I'm trying to help them find a job. I'm trying to help them find a place to live, but
Hmm.
like they're not so down under that they have like nothing at all. But like the most I can do right now is at least feed them for the week. So I'll buy them
Yes.
groceries. I'll give them groceries so they can feed themselves, and every week I just buy them groceries, and so I can save up enough money to maybe help them buy a room locally to where I live, and then I'll pay for the room for like the month or two that I can, and I hope that they're very hardworking, and I hope that they find even like a part-time job or something that helps them grow from the beginning. Because I told them, I was like, look, I mean, I can do the best that I can do, but I'm not going to carry you throughout. And I know that opportunity will for them grow, and I that's basically what I want to happen. But like sometimes it's nice to be able to do what we can for others, and just like your story is like, um all you did was earn a penny, so then that's what you gave is a penny, and then when you
Yes.
earned a little bit more, you gave a little bit more. And I think that's a very and a very important life
Yeah.
in just like not just finance, but just like the principle of being,
Yes, I love that you say that it's about shifting your mindset.
Yes.
You know, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the soup kitchen. I know it was times when you had nothing to eat, and how did you change your mindset?
Well, it's called the law of giving. Okay, I believe there's a law of giving, but I don't. Giving and receiving work together. But people mostly, when you tell them $10 million, they focus on the receiving end of it.
Yeah.
They don't focus on the giving end. So it's the self-interested person is mostly thinking, and I was this way before my conversion, and I had to realize, well, how is this affecting others? Do I really only think of myself first? Like when I was a child, I was always accused of,
Mm.
because I grew up in a large family, 7 children, and but I was more or less seen as a loner. I played team sports and things like that, but I was looked at as being the loner. That I could be by myself in my room building a car model, and I didn't need anybody else around me. I would just be doing my own thing,
Mm.
I'm still that. That's still my nature, but I have to include other people in my life. So if I'm out sweeping the park, I'm retired, by the way, and I'm 70 years old, so I've I've earned that.
Hmm.
But
There you go.
uh, I still work because working is healthy. I had an open heart surgery. You talk about starting at the dark. Well, 4 years ago in June, I had open heart surgery and triple bypass, and and I was already on this financial path, but I was not. My health had suffered from years of stress, and I don't know. It seemed like those years during the 80s and 90s where I was either walking halfway across America or and with a pack on my back, because there was a time when I would just be fed up with the place I was living, and or broke or lost a job or whatever the reason was, and I'd throw the pack on my back and I would head out. Well, I ended up going from Wichita, Kansas to Vancouver, British Columbia, and I started with $1.98 in my pocket. I was like the kid in the insurance commercial. His dad says, the kid says, I'm running away from home. And the dad says, well, where are you going to go, son? He says, as far as this $2.98 will take me. And for me, it was $1.98. So, and I made it all the way to Vancouver. The Lord provided
Wow.
along the way. Obviously, the $1.98 didn't do it, but I had to leave in faith, knowing that I was going somewhere. First, I went north to Nebraska, and then I went west. But it was an adventure, and I also might have told you that I did not have an automobile for 16 or 17 years, from 86 to
Okay.
2003. And during those years, I traveled more places, met more people, made more destinations than I had ever gone while I had a car. So once again, the Lord provided. And the in 2003, I graduated from California University of Pennsylvania. Odd name for a school, but that's the name. There's also in Indiana, Pennsylvania, but California
Mhm.
University of Pennsylvania, which is about 150 miles from where I now live in Northeast Ohio. And my dad had made a promise when I was 19. I was 48 years old at the time. And when I was 19, he made a promise that any child of mine that graduates from college, I'm gonna give him a car. Well, that was 30 years before. And when I finally graduated, he gave me a car. So that's how I got my first car after not having one for 16, 17 years. It,
Nice.
I, I finished a bachelor's degree in political science and public administration. So God is good. And I have to give him the credit, because on my own, I was stumbling and bumbling back there in the 1970s. I wasn't doing much good.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. It's like sometimes that's the encouragement that like that's just like, oh, you're gonna get me a car, and the beauty I think of it is that like your goal wasn't like, or the goal of like him giving you a car wasn't like time based. Like, hey, you have to get a degree by this time, and I'll get you a car. It
Correct.
was
There
it
was
was
no
just like,
deadline.
yeah, yeah. There was just
Absolutely
it was
correct.
just like a promise. Like, if you do this, I'll do this for you, you know? And that's
So
kind of like oh yeah, I love that because like it's kind of like a similar story that I went through, that like, my parents, um that we were always like low middle class, people. And I never really asked my parents for a lot, but I remember when I was younger, I was going through some hard times, some depression, and such. And I didn't want to do anything with anyone. Like I told the story before on a previous podcast, but like I had a girlfriend and she broke my heart, and I don't know why I took it to heart, but it wasn't just the fact that she hurt me, but I also started hurting like myself, like emotionally. So
mhm.
like I have a physical disability that like I just have it. It's the rest of my life. When I was younger, I was almost convinced by doctors that I could be changed to be quote unquote normal and just have, like a normal body.
No
But
discipline.
yeah, yeah. I have like right now there is a title for it. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's basically a version of like muscular dystrophy.
Hmm.
So like my bones are getting weaker, but I also have like issues with my wrists and my elbow, my arms and my elbows. Like I can't straighten them or I can't raise them too well. And their entire life, they're like, how is this person gonna like live their life? Like my parents were like, I think it's just the Asian background too, right? So Asian parents are normally harder on their kids. So
Yeah.
my parents were even harder on me because they're like, you're at a double disadvantage, like we're going against like society, and then you're going against your physical limits, right?
Hmm.
And like, so I had a girlfriend, we broke up, and I was just really sad, and like I didn't want to hang out with my best friends, my local friends. And then one day, my friend, my oldest friend came, like texted me, called me. He's like, "Hey, come outside." And I was like, "I don't want to come outside." He's like, "Look, we haven't seen you in forever. Just come outside." So he comes outside and he pulls up in a car, right? And it's a car, like I was never really into the car scene. I did drive like a madman. Like my first car that was a hand me down from my parents was like a '92 Corolla, and I raced that thing everywhere against anything. I had no fear. But it's an older car. But I was like, I wanted a car of my own, but I just don't know what I wanted. And he pulled up in a Subaru, right? So it's like an older Subaru Impreza. It was like sporty, it was beautiful. and I was just like blown away. And when he had pulled up, he's like, "Do you like what you see?" I literally forgot about all my other worries I had ever witnessed in life, right? He took me for a ride. We went up and down like highways and, like spirited driving, but safe. And when he dropped me off, he's like, "I hope this helped." And that day, I vowed to myself that one day I will get this car. And ever since that day that he took me for a drive, I started looking on like all the car. I mean, unfortunately, I lived in a time where everything exists on the internet, so I
Hmm.
just started looking up everywhere where I can buy it. Some places were out of state, and I was just like, I don't have any money. I don't have any money. And then I feel like there was an opportunity given by faith, right? That there was one available in white, like one I wanted, and it was just like a few towns away, and I was like, I want this, and I didn't have any money. I worked part time. I was working at part time at like Sears. I was making like $200 a week, but I was saving as much as I can for it. But like at the same time, I would like hang out with friends and we'd go out. But I was like, I need to save more money, and I was probably short like a half, like around 2 grand. And I asked my mom, and I was like I know I like when I was younger, all I did was ask for video games because that's all I ever did in my kid ages. But I was like, Mom, I found a car and I love it, right? And I remember my friend and I went to go look at it. I did a test drive. I loved it so much, and go to my mom. I'm like, I want to buy this car. Like this is the car of my dreams. And to them, they're a little bit older. Like my parents were like, but it's an old car. Like it was 2008 when we bought it, and the model was a 2000, right? Had high mileage on it for the time that it had like 150K on it. It was in good shape. It had a little bit of rust. I was like, I could probably fix that. And we went to the shop, and they're like, yeah, the car's 4 grand. So I don't think it was worth 4 grand, but I was like, I'll take it anyway. Like I really wanted it. And I remember my mom telling me, she's like, I didn't want to buy this car. She's like, like it's an old car. Like you deserve something newer, something better. And I was like, no, mom, this is my dream car, you know. And I was like, I really want this car. So she said she looked at me and saw how sad I looked when they're still considering it, and she asked me to go stand outside for a little while, right? And I just stood outside, standing in front of the car, like, this is like you're my dream car. I want you, right? And she told me to leave because she wanted to talk to the guy and discuss financial plans to pay it off. She's like, look, this is all the money I have right now. I'll give you the rest of the money next week, but don't tell my son.
Wow.
Oh, so
So
yeah, just
the money showed up because the desire was there.
so she bought it. Like we bought the car. I was quiet when we got home, and and I'll never forget it because like we came home and I never said a word. I was just like stunned, but I was stunned out of like excitement. I was happy as shit, and we got home. I was in my room and I was just like kind of zoned out, looking at my window, and my dad walks in and he's just like he's disappointed, right? Because he's like, I'm so sorry that I couldn't buy you a better car. He was just like, the story always gets me every time. He's just like, I wish I was smarter. I saved more money. I had a better job. I wish I had a better education, but I only did what I could do. So then, like when he had said this, he's like, I wish I could buy you a BMW, Mercedes, whatever. And I turned around and I had tears down my face, like I have tears now. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, you bought me my dream car. Like I'm set for life.
That's the one you wanted. It wasn't like it was a hand me down. It was the one you wanted.
Yep. And then on top of that, like after that moment, like our relationship, like it wasn't always the best. I would say like there were times where it was tough, but our relationship changed. Like the dynamic between myself and my parents, they
Yes.
started to see how hardworking I became. They started to see how like being disabled didn't bother me anymore. They started seeing that I was able actually to like live my life. So to kind of like fast forward, this was like in my early 20s, early to mid 20s. Fast forward, I'm 38 now, and like
Hmm.
I've had so much more confidence in myself. Like I'm proud to say where I am, where now I'm happily married. I have a 3-year-old daughter. I also have 3 cars myself, and I'm working on getting a fourth. And like I just like I let my parents know. They're like, why do you do this? I'm like, because because I'm like
Because you can.
Well, not just that, I was like, because it all began when you bought me my dream car,
Yes,
you know?
he made it
So,
multiply.
Shift
yeah.
of mindset.
So, like, it was that day that when they bought me that car that I shifted my mindset that I was like,
Hmm.
even not having everything in my hand or in my pockets, that one way or another it'll work out. And then that's why I think things like this podcast, the things I do for my friends, the things I do for like my friend that's, like the best I can do is buy him groceries. It's still, I think for me, a step in the right direction until I can do more.
Yes. Well, my senior pastor um, passed away on June 7th, and we buried him on July 1st. And I met Rose a few days later in North Carolina. My brother wanted to go on a gambling trip before his major surgery
Mm,
um, in Georgia. And I I've had several people in the church lean on me over the years as because a year before this, uh, his name is Apostle Derek Scott. He appointed me to be assistant pastor, and so now that he's gone, some of the members lean on me, and I have to lend people some gas money now and then,
yeah.
and or just hand them a $50 bill. I did that. I think I did that the last day that Apostle Scott was in a service before he left
Mm,
for the hospital, and then for for uh, um,
it's
for
there.
heaven, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, parts parts unknown, and so they're leaning on me. But fortunately, I've been blessed financially enough that it's not bothering me to hand it out.
Yeah.
It's actually a blessing to be able to give. And having had my own health scares, my most recent one was last fall, and I was in the hospital. I called 911 to go to the hospital. My blood pressure had gone. This is after the operation, 3 years after, and I had blood pressure 215 over 115 again. And they determined that I did not have a heart attack. So I Monday morning, this would happen on a Saturday, and Monday morning they wanted to do a stress test at 9 o'clock. Well, the nurse woke me up at 4, and they insisted on putting this gadget on my chest to monitor all my vitals. And I said, this thing is bothering me. I have wires in my chest. It's causing a reaction, and this is what's keeping my blood pressure up. And after they had already brought it down, with their drugs.
Mm,
And so I wasn't real happy with the nurse. And the Apostle Scott, again, he had come to the hospital the day before, and he says, on the first day, it's from Scripture, a book of Hosea 6:2, I believe it is. It's in the early part of the chapter. It says, on the first day I wounded you. On the second day, which is the day he visited and prayed for me, he said, on the second day I healed you. On the third day you rose up.
mm,
So Monday morning was the third day. I don't usually get up very well. I'm not a morning person, and I don't get up very well in the morning. And I got up. I put on my clothes. Took off their gear, and put on my clothes. And I went to the desk with my pack on my back. I says, I'm checking out. And they says, oh, don't you live in Brookfield? I said, yes. Well, there's a lot of hills between the here and there. I said, I can climb hills. And so I didn't know this because I hadn't looked out the window. But after, and they took the rig out of my arm, fortunately I didn't have to do it myself. I threatened to do it myself, but they did that and bandaged it up. And I went downstairs. It's raining cats and dogs. It is pouring down a, a flood.
yeah.
And I didn't call for a ride because I didn't want to wake people up at 5 a.m. and I didn't have a long sleeve shirt on or a raincoat. And I go, um, it was, I had a chance to be a coward and go back and say, "Oh, I apologize. I'll stay now." No, I didn't do that. I I went out in the rain and I heard the still small voice say, "We've been through worse than this."
Yeah. Yeah.
and I just put you know put the pack on and hiked home. It was all uphill. Well, it's down level for a little while, then a little bit of downhill, but then it was the hill between Ohio and Pennsylvania. It's pretty steep, and I go up the hill, and when I got to the top of the hill where the Ohio line is, it stopped raining. So the rest of the, I mean, I was soaked to the bone, but the rest
Yeah.
of the time I'm drying out. Made it a whole 3 miles home, and I called my friend, and he said, "I would have come and get you." I says, "No, don't worry. I proved and I had told them at the desk, don't you have a stress test this morning?" They say, and I says, "Well, let me tell you a little story." I says, "I was applying 20 years ago for a heart related because I was electrocuted while I was in the service." I said, "I was at the VA and I was applying for a heart related disability because of that electrical shock." And they said, I said, "Don't you have to give me a stress test?" They says, "No, you, according to our records, you've been riding a bicycle, a stationary bicycle, 5 miles in about 30 minutes. I said, "Yeah, so?" And he says, "Well, that's your stress test." So I repeated that story to the nurses, and I says, "I'm walking home. That's my stress test.
Yeah.
If I don't make it, then you come and get me." But so far, I haven't been back to the hospital.
That's a
And
beautiful.
I do, I do good science. I have a blood pressure cuff that I
Yeah,
measure
much
myself.
help to you, Mr. Gold. Yes.
Yes,
No,
my health is improving.
that I think my favorite part about that story is like because you and your pastor, like, there was like a level of faith, right?
Yes,
And then there was a level of test to that faith, and
yes. You have to put feet to your prayers sometimes.
exactly, but like even more so, right? I felt like God was like, okay, you say you got this, but then let me just show off one more thing. And when he went to go step out that door and
Let him
saw
show
rain,
off.
it's like I'm gonna give you the hardest challenge, and it's really about a test of your faith, not your
Mhm.
ability to actually like make it through the rain and make it through the hill and all that stuff. It was like, let's see, like I'm gonna give you a very tough situation. I'm gonna present it in front of you, very tough. Like you see a hill, you see rain, it's like go up this, right? And it
Mhm.
was, I don't think it was a challenge to your physical ability. It was a challenge to how much faith you have in
Yes,
God,
I
right?
agree.
And that's why when you got to the top of that hill and you're soaking
Yeah, he
wet,
made the rain stop.
and then he made the rain stop, he's like, I can't test Mr. Golov anymore. He's passed the test. You know what I mean? And
Amen.
even like you said, you reached out to your friend, and your friend was like, I would have been there in a second too. But the true test was the fact that you had that faith in yourself, and you did it, and it's inspiring me, man. It's honestly amazing.
Thank you. Well, if it helps anybody.
Yeah,
we-
no, I listen, like
Now,
me.
when I told you I went that hiking trip that landed me in Vancouver, British Columbia,
Mhm.
and I'm walking down the street, and I'm in the red light district unknowingly. I had stayed in a hotel overnight, and I'm walking down the street, and a prostitute walks up and grabs my arm and says, "What are you looking for, honey?" And I says, "I'm looking for somebody that loves Jesus." And she flew off my arm like somebody knocked her out. She was gone, like this, like somebody picked her up and threw her halfway across the sidewalk, and she didn't talk to me again. And so I'm walking down a little further, and I found a little corner ministry that I stopped in. So I found what I was looking for. And then another brother in the Lord, he saw me at a different ministry. It was a soup kitchen, by the way, and he said the Holy Spirit told him this was the one, and he was talking about me, and he took me into his home for like 6 weeks, and all we did was go out on the and to start off that trip, I had lost my job at McDonald's. I mean, that's not like going out on top, is it? I lost a job at McDonald's over, you know, exchanging some words. No swear words. Just um, had a confrontation with one of their assistant managers, and that day they told me to clock out, and I figured that meant for good. But if you ever get fired from McDonald's, make sure you get fired on payday. And it was payday, and that's how I got a Greyhound bus up to Vancouver to
Wow.
be able to be there a few. And so it led me into really my calling is to minister. I mean, I'm not ordained by the state of Ohio, at least not to this point, but I have ministered all over the country,
Mm.
dude, and this man, he didn't just pour a little dab on you. He poured a whole 17-ounce bottle of oil. He put towels around your shoulders. He poured an entire 17-ounce bottle of oil over my head. And then we went out in the street and started to minister, and miracles started to happen in the street, the red light district, the same one I'd been to a couple of days before.
Mhm.
But it allowed me a chance to get started. And then I had more faith then. And then that after that was the Tacoma, Washington experience, where the penny, the revelation of the penny, what a penny could do,
Yeah.
as long as it's sown in faith.
I think.
And a little lady that was one of my landlords before I left Wichita, she was sowing into my life because she said, "You can't outgive God. No matter what you do, you never outgive God. So, however much giving you do, it doesn't. It's not like the scales of justice like people like to.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just the faith, having the faith to go forward and do what you're supposed to do." And then I met another man in another ministry in Mississippi a few years after. Let's see, was that before? No, that was before. And he was a Baptist, and he liked to finance trips to Israel and Europe, Italy, different places for the church members. And he says, "Well, God," and he didn't have any other operation in the church except he says, "God told me I am a financier of the kingdom."
Mm.
And so I took both of those statements to heart when I figured out what I'm supposed to do.
No, that's amazing. I feel like I think I see it in you as much as I see it in myself as a reflection that like
Mhm.
I think it's all the experiences that we've been through, they've
Yes,
all happened for the reason that they needed to happen to be
yes,
for you to become
and
like
always
who you
on
are now.
time.
Yeah, exactly. And, like I think there were jobs where like I got let go or like something had happened and I
Hmm.
needed that to happen because a better opportunity came my way, you know? And like
Yes.
even now like I mean I work in IT and it's been like like a back and forth struggle everywhere, and like I'm hitting a point now in my life that's like I've done this so much and then it's like now I'm questioning like is this what I want to do, you know? Like I love helping people, like it's my thing, and I think that's why motivation station is a beautiful thing because like I like to talk to people, I like to get to know people. We have like podcasts like this where it's like very invigorating, you know, it's very nice to have. And I'm like, you know what, like I want to do more stuff along the lines of this, like I want to help people, but like I want to be more happy with the way I do it. And I have some crazy weird dreams that I want to do. Like I'm trying to actually build one of my cars to be a race car. I want to
That
get
was
into
one of my dreams when I was 21 years old.
so like I like that car that I have. I still
Hmm.
have the Subaru that I got from 2000. It's
Okay.
it's gone through like three motors, two transmissions, and it's still kicking. But I was like, no, if I'm gonna do this right, I'm gonna do this right. Because what I kept doing was just make like I build it enough to keep it going, but then I took a full step back and I was like, you know what? There's more to this. You know,
Hmm.
there's more to what I actually want to do to this. But anyway, um, so I'm actually pursuing a lot of other things that like look, I'll give it a shot, and if it goes it goes, and if it doesn't, at least I've given it a shot. And you know, I can be content with myself without any regrets. But I think
Yes.
the more that you know Rose and I talk here, the more we talk to like our guests and stuff like that, there's opportunities that happen to us because of the things that have happened to us. um and I think it all just starts with like that faith. it starts with that level of faith.
Sanjay, you mentioned. Did I pronounce that right, Sanjay?
Yeah, 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 yes, you
Okay,
did.
that's what it's Indian, right?
Yeah,
Or
Indian,
Pakistani one. One
Indian, yeah, yeah.
oh, Indian. Um, I wanted to show you mentioned three cars now, so I wanted to show you my three cars. How that one car that my dad. Can you see that?
I can see it, but you might have to just say what kind of
A
cars
little
they are.
higher,
No, lower is good. Like it's
lower,
yeah. You just might have to bring it closer to the camera, but you might have to
closer.
just say what the cars are.
Yes,
Okay.
we see it.
So I see three cars, but I can't tell what models they are. But that's
Oh
not big
well,
on you or
one of them
anything.
is covered,
Hmm.
and that's my classic car.
Okay.
It's a 1981 Lincoln Mark Six,
Okay.
and the middle one is Chevrolet Impala LS. I used to have a Lincoln Mark 8, and it got totaled out 2 years ago by a man who was high on heroin. He readily admitted it
Oh,
at the
Oof.
scene. He said, "I just shot up heroin," because he was all over the road, and my car was very quick. It's almost 300 horsepower, and I got away from him, but then I had to make a left turn, and I was sitting there trying to make the left turn. He
And
plowed right
goes.
into my rear end and totaled out the Lincoln Mark.
Oh
oh,
And
man.
so I bought this Chevrolet in the middle. It's a 2010 um, Chevrolet Impala.
Mm.
And you mentioned 150,000. I bought it with 131 on it. Now it has 150,000 miles on it. The third one I bought last fall. Um, let's see. Oh, right after I got out of the hospital in the fall, I went to Florida after the hurricane.
Hmm.
And well, actually during the hurricane, and I was supposed to go all the way on a train, and ended up the train got canceled, and I had to make another way. But I did get down there, and the car I wanted was a '97 Cougar, but it when I test drove it, it felt like the drive shaft was going to fall out because
Hmm.
I've had that experience, so I know what it sounds like.
Hmm.
And I said, I can't take this car home. I need a car I can drive home. And he said, I have a Mercury Sable. So this car is a 2004 Mercury Sable LS Premium, the third car there, the silver one.
Hmm.
And it's only got 78,000 on it. I just drove it down to Georgia and back
Mm.
for my brother's surgery. And
Okay. There you go.
so
See, that's awesome.
much have to
it's
brother.
been a blessing. So I'll share something I heard about Kid Rock. You
Mm.
know, the musician.
Okay.
Yeah, Kid Rock. Yeah. Oh, he- he'll probably connect
It's a
again.
very fascinating story, and I love that he's talking about law of giving. I definitely feel we give less, and we are takers. We take in the fresh air, we take in these beautiful weathers, we're taking every day, we're taking, and we do need to talk more about giving, because love giving. Even if you give a smile today, a kind compliment, a word, a hug, it's still art of giving. It's love giving. And this is definitely today, it was a lesson for me to be learned that we need to give more. We don't give enough.
I think
So
the takeaway. I mean, I not that I don't agree with you a
it's
100%.
my takeaway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It for him it was more about the level of faith, right? So for him it
Yes,
was the explanation of like you can give as much as you humanly can, but you cannot give more than the Lord has given to us already, you know?
that's
Uh
true.
I hope he comes back. I don't know why it dropped out, but hopefully he'll come back
And
shortly.
definitely a fascinating story by starting up eating at the soup kitchen, by living in shelters, and then just finishing up the college of 2003 and just not giving up, and now sharing all the beautiful classic cars. That it could be anything. It don't have to be cars. It's anything that
It's
makes you passionate or passionate.
yeah, I think the biggest thing is like it life gets tough, right? Life
Faith.
gets tough and we lose our vision. And like sometimes we encounter things in our lives that like, for me it was like the simple fact that I wanted an old car that like triggered me to be like, hey, I want to do more. Hold on, I can bring it back.
Welcome back, Mr. Golub.
I,
And Golub
I,
means
I,
a
I'm on the
beautiful
phone.
pigeon
The other one
from Russian language.
hasn't come back yet, but I just wanted to share that just quickly
Mhm.
that he likes old cars, and he says if you're going to drive old cars, you better have at least two
Yeah,
because you're going to need a spare.
yeah, yeah. That's what happened
So,
with mine.
um,
When I had my 2000 Subaru, I was like, all right, I have this, and I know what's gonna happen. Let me get another car, and that's exactly how that went. But
yeah,
that's a 100% true statement right there.
yeah. So now my dad sold one car into my life, and now I have three, and they're all serviceable.
There you
I
go.
do a little work on them one at a time. The Lincoln needs work now. I just put a new battery in the Chevy, so
Yeah, no,
it
you definitely.
lasted 2.5 years. So,
I would say the biggest lesson I took out of all of them is definitely work on one at a time because I tried to juggle all three, and at one point I had three broken cars, and I was like, all right, I'm doing something wrong. But sometimes it's just the
but
best teacher's experience, right?
yes, sir. I'm glad
But
you could still mechanic on those things, Sanjay. You're
yeah, yeah.
overcoming your disability.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's a challenge. I have some friends and family that support me strong, and now it just I think for me it's just I need to put more faith in myself on what I want to do in my life, and I feel like the rest of it will come.
I
You know,
agree, and
uh,
and keep your faith in God too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Bill, I mean, I have your contact information. We'll definitely keep in touch. We won't take up too much of your
Okay.
time, but we appreciate the time you took, the story you shared here. It's been hugely inspiring, and to me, I like we definitely will stay connected. I'll definitely send over like a pictures of my cars to you, so then we can continue our conversation on cars on the
Okay.
side.
Well, you've got
But
two ways to do it. You have the email and you have the phone. Either way.
absolutely, and we'll definitely, I think we will definitely try to reconnect with you again, maybe on a future episode as well, just to catch up on life and see how everything is
Well,
going.
I would love to. I would love to do this. I would love to do this again sometime, Sanjay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely, we'd love to have you. But until then, let's just say
Now,
cheers to
now I'm getting more experience.
yeah, right. But cheers
Thank
to
you so
the
much, Mr.
podcast and
Golub. And as I
having you.
said, and from Russian language, pigeon means golub. Golub means pigeon. It's a beautiful bird, and it's definitely a right timing. God has His own timing. It's a right timing. A beautiful bird in our podcast,
Yes,
and it's probably does represent my mom being an angel, a bird, a butterfly, and I'm definitely fascinated about your story, and definitely my takeaway is love giving, faith. Do not lose your faith because by changing and shifting your mindset, you
yes,
can achieve the most. And don't forget, it's not only about taking,
yes,
it's about giving. Giving smile, giving a hug, giving a compliment.
yes.
Maybe it's absolutely free,
I
but
agree.
it's very meaningful, important, and don't forget, you can turn somebody's life around just be giving them a smile, hug, and a compliment.
Yeah, the art of giving is
And
not
I
simply
would
about
just like to
sending a
say
gift.
in
Yeah,
parting that
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I would like to say in parting that if someone finds themselves, whether it's a physical problem or they're homeless or whatever, just never, never, never give up.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Thank you for
Yes,
the
cheers
story. Thank you
to
for the
this
advice. And
words.
yes, cheers
Cheers to this
to
beautiful. Yes.
this beautiful podcast, our
Never give up.
beautiful,
Never
yeah,
give up.
Oh
our
yes.
bonding
I,
story here.
let me see. There's the bottle.
There it is. There it is.
Cheers.
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 I
Never
was
give up, God.
Mr. Golub. We will definitely catch up soon, but thank you again for being a part of the podcast, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, brother.
Much
Take care.
success.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Man, that was a great story because it is it is one of those stories that, you know, it is a test of faith. It really is. There's a level of, it reminded me of what we had a podcast of I forgot her name's slipping my mind. The one that went to like California with her sister. Do you remember?
Judy.
Judy, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. It reminded me of the story of Judy where it was just like, hey, if this is happening, it's happening for a reason. God is doing
Yes.
this in my life for a reason. So God, like,
Yes.
thank you for this, message, and I'll run with it. And Mr. Golub's story here was very inspirational because it just comes down
We
to the decisions we make. You
we
know,
needed to hear this today.
it all comes down to, like, we're all given these different opportunities, right? We're all given these points where it's just like, look, you can do it, or you don't, but either way there's going to be a result at the end, right? But you can't complain about the results for the work you didn't put into something. You know what I mean? Like, if you're expecting, like, hey, I'm going to make $1 million, but you're sitting at home doing nothing, you're probably not going to make that $1 million. But like, you work towards your goals, and that's why, like, I don't want to get too knee deep into it, but like, I feel like I'm at that point right now where, like, I have a good job, like, I like the job I have, I like the people I work with, right? But it's not what I want to do. And like, I'm like, oh, all right, well, I can try to apply for other jobs, maybe find a better job and take that job and go with it. Or there's other stuff I want to do in my life, give it a shot. Like, I'm like, with the time this job gives back to me for myself, like, because
Yes.
there's a lot of jobs I worked before, like, it was I was always constantly busy, like, around the clock. I found myself working after hours. I found myself working on weekends, right? But this job, I
Yes.
go in at a time, I leave at that time, and that's it. That's it for that job. So it gives me the time to do everything else I want to do. If I so, like I said, I'm like writing a script and whatnot. I have time to write my script. I want to study. I have time to study. I want to go to gym. I have time to go to gym. Everything is lined up that it's allowing me to do all this. Like, I know if I maybe get another IT job, I might not have as much spare time, I might not have as much freedom or anything like that. But like, with where I'm at right now, it's starting to reveal that, like, I have this opportunity in front of me if I want to pursue other things I want to try to do. So I think
Yes.
along the story with Mr. Golub here, when he told us what he had done, it wasn't even a leap of faith. It was just a consistent walk with God, right? A consistent walk with just, like, his faith with God, right? And it wasn't like, I'm gonna take this jump to see how it goes. It's, we're just gonna keep walking, and we're gonna keep walking, and we're gonna keep walking, and that's exactly what he did. You know,
And that's
so
exactly what my mom did.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And even then, like, there was I think along with your mom, like, he did the same thing. Like, he spread joy, he spread positivity, he spread whatever he had along his way. You know, it's kind of like there you go. It's kind of
My
like
beautiful queen. Yes.
leaving like breadcrumbs on your trail. Like, he's doing his best to make sure that he leaves like a path, like, hey, look, I can do this, you can do this. And I feel like that's exactly what we did, just like your mom. Like, she fought to the very end, to the very tip of the end. She did the best she could, and now she's earned her rest. She's earned her place in heaven, right? And now she knows that, like, with along, like, kind of like with my parents, but like, she knows that you're doing fine. She knows you're doing well, and she knows you'll succeed. And I think the biggest takeaway here from his story is, it doesn't matter how long it takes. It's about keeping it going. It could take 3 years.
It's
It
a
could
high
take
level of faith.
it could take 3 years. It could take 30 years. Right. The biggest, and I think the most important lesson here is, you just keep walking. You just keep walking. So I think, yeah, today was a very, very beautiful tribute to life, right? And the fact that I think it's important to just never give up. you know, and this is what happens when we keep fighting. This is what happens when we keep fighting, you know? And not all battles will be won, and but not all battles will be lost. But the thing is, you know, especially to Mr. Golub's point, is God is always along with you on this journey. The highs, the lows, the mids, doesn't matter. He's always there on your journey. And when you are truly at a point where you need to be tested, he will test you. He will test you, and that's when your faith will be truly tested. I love that story of he was leaving and it's raining and he has to go up hills. And I was like, that's God saying, like, you have your do you really have faith in me? Prove it. Prove it right now. You know?
Yeah.
So that was such a beautiful story. And I hope we do stay in touch. I mean, I have his number and information here, and I would love to have him again on our podcast. But I think this was a great story to have been shared. And yeah, I feel and now like I'm through all the stuff I've been through the last few months. Like I just feel like this story was just like a reminder of why I'm me and why I keep doing the things I do. So it was a beautiful story to have part of our podcast.
Yeah. I'm very grateful for him to accepting the invitation to be part of the motivation station. And if you, of course, if any of you want to share your story, your passion, your mission, the things that you do, the things that you're going through, you're more than welcome to join our motivation station. We do have a motivation station email, motivationstation@gmail.com. Email us anytime. You can find us on Spotify, Facebook, Instagram. And thank you everyone who is watching us. We did make over 2,000 views, which is you spending hour, hour and a half a week just watching, listening, taking your takeaway and motivation from this. And we would gladly appreciate that for you investing your time for watching, listening, sharing, liking, and putting some comments. And yes, we're
And
gonna
just
be here, and the show is going on.
And I think in the just to piggyback off what you're saying as well, like, you know, even if it's a story of like you having lost in faith, you needing some sort of guidance or some sort of like motivation, you know, or
Yes,
in a general term, motivation, please, you know, we would love to talk to you. We would love to get to know you. We would love to share any sort of advice we might
yes,
have, or just share smiles, compliments, whatever, you know, have you along the way and just like bring you back. But I think it's been a fantastic episode. I think it's been a fantastic journey, and this is only the beginning of this, you know? Tune in, definitely. I think next week is just going to be our month roundup. And I think going into August, we're going to take some time to do an episode of just talking about some stuff we have planned for Motivation Station. Short episode, right? Just to talk about some changes we want to bring, some merch that we're thinking about making, and yeah, just kind of helping Motivation Station grow. But if you guys stopped by today, we appreciate you stopping by like we always do. Um, you know, feel free to share our videos. Feel free to subscribe to us, like our videos,
yes.
tell your
Bonjour,
friends and
Morgan.
family. Yeah. Oh yeah, and yeah. Bonjour, Morgan. I'm sorry, I didn't even get a chance to say it, and I appreciate you stopping by. She did tell me last night before I went to bed. She's like, I'm gonna be ready for the show. I'll be on. So I was like, perfect. So that's good.
There's a butterfly. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, again, thank you guys so much again. We'll see you guys next week for the month up review. But until then, guys, we say cheers to you, cheers to us, cheers to everyone,
Cheers, guys.
and we hope you have a great day and a motivated day. All right,
Happy motivated day, guys. Bye
all right.
bye.
Take care.